Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Oh, and by the way, if you hear me give out a telephone number, don't call because this is a rebroadcast, and our janitor Charlie will answer the phone, and believe me, you don't want to talk to him. He's an ornery little cuss.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Well, I want to squeeze in a couple things because I've got so much to talk to you about today. I'm not even going to tease it because if I tease all of this, I'm not going to get to all of it. Plus, I'm going to take up 20 minutes to tease it, and that's not going to work. But just to get this out of the way, last night I watched Samaritan with Sylvester Stallone on Amazon Prime. I'd seen trailers for it, and I'm like, I want to watch that. It's Stallone. It's a superhero movie. I like the premise of the trailer when I saw it, and so we watched it. And I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So let's just say that. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, so many ways to do it. Thumbs up, thumbs down scale of 1 to 10. How many stars will you give it? Well, if it's 1 to 10, I'd give the movie a good solid maybe 6. I enjoyed it enough to where I did not stop watching it. Right. If I gave it stars, maybe I'd give it 3 maybe out of 5.
I'm giving
maybe,
it 2.5.
Maybe
2.5 out of 5.
Maybe 2.999 stars, maybe 3, something like that. If I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, I give it, that's the only 2 choices I have to give, I'll give it a thumbs up to at least watch it.
Well, you could do the Ebert when they started doing thumbs sideways.
Oh, did they do the sideways?
Remember when they do that? They're like, well, it's not a thumbs up, but it's not a thumbs down. It's
I'll have to give
sideways.
it a thumb sideways, but pointing a little up toward the northwest or something. Not completely sideways, inching up to like the 10 minute before or 10 minute after the hour.
The only way,
position.
if I had to pick, if I couldn't go neutral, if I couldn't say, nope, it's exactly in the middle.
Can't go neutral, Ellen.
I would say the only reason, it's because of a soft spot in my heart for Stallone.
Your thumbs up.
His performance was worth watching, even if it's a bad script or has bad storylines or
it's
just moments where you go, it had me, and then, lost me.
It's
got me back.
movie.
Lost me.
I didn't look at the cast. The guy who's playing the bad guy who wants to become the other evil superhero guy who wants to become him with the hammer that you're talking about. Was he in Game of Thrones? Was he in command of that Navy in the last season that was attacking?
That's a good
what's
question.
your name? I need to look him up because I think he's the guy.
I thought he was trying to channel an '80s version of Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, he probably was, but I think I know who the actor is.
This could be Kiefer Sutherland playing this part if he was just younger.
Even just from the hair.
Just the hair, the look.
An evil guy.
Even when he had there was elements of his character early that I kind of like. I'm like, okay, you're turning him into we know he's the kind of the shady guy, but you appreciated the kid didn't rat out the family member. You're like, okay.
Right.
But then he turned into a flat, two-dimensional comic. And I say it not in a bad way. A comic book. Like, you were trying to flesh him out, and you went
the actor is Pilu Asbeck.
Yeah, I knew he was.
Yeah, he's from Denmark, and he was. He's the guy. Yeah, he was Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. I knew I recognized it. So they're good. Doing a great American accent, by the way, in Samaritan, and filmed in Atlanta. I'll tell you about another movie I watched too when we come back.
We'll return after these messages.
Slush Puppy is pumping out the flavor, pumping out the fun. Rainbows a waiver for a mouthful of fun. Pumping out the thirst, cooling off in the sun. Pumping out the action when you're pumping on a run. Ice cold Slush Puppy, drinking it up. Slush Puppy is fun in a cup. Slush Puppy!
Now for a limited time, 14 ounces of Slush Puppy, just 39 cents. Get the big 14-ounce cup, just 39 cents.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Underdog ran from 1963 to 72 with 124 episodes. And being one of TV Guide's 50 greatest cartoon characters of all time, just where did he come from? Created by a New York ad man for the kids' cereal giant General Mills, Underdog was the brainchild of William Watts Biggers, who went by the nickname Buck. Yep, Buck Biggers. With his ad partner Chet Stover, they were vying for a specific primetime Saturday morning slot, but they had competition addition, their similar adversary had firmly established itself in the cartoon world 2 years earlier. It was known as the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show. Buck claims to have said that up against this competition, we're going to be the underdogs. Well, Underdog got picked up, and the rest was cartoon history. With the successful creation of their superhero canine and the full production team of Buck Biggers, Chet Stover, Tread Covington, and Joe Harris, Total Television Productions was born. For BK on the Air, this is Pat McCormick with the Golden Rage of TV.
When criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they should fear and fight for all who see or hear, the cry goes up both far and near for underdog. 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 Speed of lightning, roar of thunder, fighting all power thunder. Underdog.
That's right. Thank you, Pat McCormick, in that little report about Underdog. You know, if you ever watch the Underdog series and you see what he does and what he's capable of and how strong he really is, he's like 10, 20, 30 times more powerful than like Superman. So if Underdog ever fought Superman,
Well, it's all because he's got his power drug.
He would clean him up. He would destroy Superman. Underdog. What he's so
I always, when I
powerful,
was a
it's
kid,
great.
want to know, how does he reload his pill, and why does he only keep one?
As a kid, you're not supposed to ask certain things like
It's
that.
time
you
for
know?
my power pill. I'm getting beat by the bad guy. I'm going to pop my ring.
like-
Why didn't you do that at the beginning of the fight?
When Stacy will do that a lot when we're watching stuff. I'm like, honey, you are not supposed to ask Gilligan's Island questions. When you watch Gilligan's Island, people go, well, why doesn't the professor, he's so smart, fix the hole in the boat and then they can leave? I'm like, because you don't understand. The show would be over.
The show would be over.
You can't do that. I mean, I understand. Number one, you're going to interject logic into Gilligan's Island. You got a problem anyway. Save that for your documentaries and your dramas and stuff like that. But it's Gilligan's Island. It's Underdog.
When you think about it, it's the same. It's the same
crazy.
storyline as Popeye. Like, why didn't you just
True.
open the can of spinach at the beginning? You know how this is
Why
going to
don't
end.
you just eat spinach
Nope.
every meal?
We need the 2/3 of the episode to be about how Bluto's taking over everything,
Right.
and
Olive
Popeye's
is
kicked
screaming.
to the corner. And it's not until your back's against the wall, you're like, oh yeah, wait, I've got spinach, and then I win.
You've made me remember something else. Do you remember the 79 or 80 film Popeye with Robin Williams?
Yes.
Did you see it? Did you see it in the theater as a
Yes.
kid?
No, I didn't see it in the theater.
I saw it in the theater, and then as a kid, I'm watching it, and I'm watching the whole movie. And I'll say up front, the movie is just pretty much terrible. I mean, because when I watched it, I'm like, well, there's two things there are three things that are fantastic about Popeye. Robin Williams is Popeye, spot on. How could you not think so? Shelley Duvall as Olive Oil, please. She nailed it. She was Olive Oil. Paul Smith as Bluto. He was those three. They were fantastic in it. Even the little baby playing Sweet Pea. Some argued that he was the best actor in the film, playing Sweet Pea. But his facial reactions, they were all great. The movie it tried to be a comic book, but it tried to be a musical,
Right.
And it tried to be a drama. Then it tried to be goofball. It tried too many things and didn't succeed in any of them. But I thought he didn't eat his spinach till the end of the film. And he goes this whole movie, and I don't like spinach. I'm like, does it work? I'm like, oh. And as a kid, I didn't understand that. I'm like, why is he eating it finally at the end of the movie? Ray Walston, the guy that played My Favorite Martian,
Yeah.
and he also played Mr. Hand in Fast Times at
Fast
Ridgemont High.
Times,
He
yeah.
played his dad. In it, Popeye, and it was, to me, it just didn't work. And the movie was a colossal flop.
Oh, they spent a lot
It was a
of
colossal
money.
flop. Did you know the village that they built on the cliffs there, where Sweet Haven was, where it takes place? It's still there. They didn't tear it down. It's in it's in Europe somewhere, and it's still there.
I'm glad what you said about Robin Williams. If it's worth watching just for talk about
Him and her.
embodying the cartoon.
Yeah.
His muttering under his breath. It's something I didn't pay attention as much when I was a kid.
Right.
Popeye did that all the time, and
Yeah.
the funniest stuff he said under his breath.
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, it just popped in the nose.
Because you look back now and you try to look at it with an adult eye, and you're like, did Popeye have Tourette's?
I swear to God, it's done for the adults.
What was wrong with Popeye?
It's like,
yeah.
because the kid didn't catch what he was saying.
Right.
Like, I'd like to be able to take you apart. Like, wait, what did you say?
Hey,
And Robin
he's
Williams,
inciting violence.
he channeled Popeye like
He did
perfectly.
It was great. I watched Popeye as a kid. I watched the 60s cartoons and the 70s that came on. But I was a Popeye fan. So, yeah, there's something else that got me.
I couldn't say Popeye.
We talked
Popeye.
about that. Yeah, we watched Samaritan the Stallone film, and I think I liked it maybe a hair's breadth better than you, but I think we both agree that it was a pretty good performance by Stallone. It's not a horrible movie, but it's not a great movie.
Let me give you
a lot wrong with it. Some things
let me
go
give
right
you a
with
scenario. Let's see if you can do this. Would you feel the same way if you hadn't seen it as Stallone? If some no-name European actor does just as good a performance, would you have felt it was as good a movie?
I think that I can answer for both you and I on this and say, yes, I would have thought the same, because we both really look at movies pretty closely when we watch them. And I think I would have thought the same thing. But I don't think I would have hated it anymore or loved it anymore. I would have thought, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I think for me, the story is where the problem is. I think I feel just a little, like if I had to pick, it's a little bit above the neutral is because I really like Stallone.
Right.
And he does a really good job.
And Stallone is great. Sometimes he's the best thing about a movie when you see a film. Now, he's made some stinkers.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen Rhinestone? with Sylvester Stallone?
Thankfully, I've dodged that one. Or Stop, where my mama will shoot.
Well, he sings in Rhinestone with Dolly Parton.
That's horrifying.
Which he's a country stinger.
Right. Oh, I know what the movie's about.
But some movies that people are talking about Sylvester Stallone here and Samaritan on Amazon Prime, by the way, if you want to watch it, give it a watch and let us know what you thought. His movie, he did a movie, and I think John Landis directed it, and it was a comedy back in the late 80s, early 90s, I think, called Oscar. And Oscar didn't do that well, and everybody thought it was kind of goofy. I thought Oscar was funny and really great.
I liked Oscar a lot.
I thought Oscar was a tailor-made stage play. You could have done it as a stage play.
I kept looking up, like, is this based on a play? It felt like it was.
I thought Oscar was great. I think if anybody asked me what's your favorite acting job by Stallone, I think if I had to pick out his one performance to be where he really shined,
2-word movie,
and it was the best. Is it hyphenated? Is it 2 words or 1 word? I can't remember.
I thought it was it may be 1 word.
Let's do it 3, 2, 1 and say it. 3, 2, 1. Copland. Exactly. Great movie.
Definitely his best dramatic and serious role.
Yes. James Mangold directed Copland. I think he may have written it as well, but he's directing the new Indiana Jones movie, by the way. So he's a good director. Directed Logan. He's a great director. Stallone and Copland, I mean, he did the Robert De Niro thing like De Niro did for Raging Bull. He gained weight for the film so he could look like just an everyday, I'm a sheriff's deputy over in Jersey. I want to be a cop, but I can't because of my ear problem. And he just kind of plays this regular kind of not really a loser, but just kind of sympathetic guy that you feel so sorry for in the film. And he does it so well.
Copland is fantastic. Folks, if you've never seen it, check it out.
Man, if you've never seen it,
don't come into it thinking, it's Stallone, he's the hero, he's going to be...
And it's not a action film.
Blood.
It's just...
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's a drama. It is a crime drama, conspiracy, covering up a murder type. It's a kind of a murder mystery, but it's like
it's really, really good.
Corrupt cops.
You bring that up, and we brought it up several months ago. These things do tend to recycle. I have got to go back and rewatch it. I haven't seen it in probably 3-4 years.
About the special edition DVD, I got to replace it eventually, I guess, on Blu-ray, but I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. But it's probably my favorite. Next to, First Blood's another one of my favorite performances by him. As much as Rocky won Academy Award, he was great in Rocky. But First Blood was another great performance.
I love the first Rocky because that's as opposed to Copland's the best movie he's done because it's a drama.
Overall, yeah.
It's got a heavy story. It's a real life story. You feel like you're watching an Academy Award winning. Rocky is a movie I love because it makes you feel like anybody can win if you just don't give up. And it's so inspirational.
Good message,
too. In terms of messaging, that one resonates with me a lot.
And for me, Rocky and Rocky 2 are another one of those instances where you could watch them both back to back.
To me, it's just one movie.
Back to back, like Superman 2. Right. I mean, they happen like right next to each other. Rocky 3 is where they kind of started drifting into the campy, over-the-top stuff, but still Rocky 3, to me, has the best fight sequence, directed sequence, fighting. It's the most exciting fight sequence with Clubber Lang, right? Wasn't it Mr.
Clubber
T's
Lang,
name?
Mr. T.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
And one of those rare instances where Mr. T plays the bad guy. He didn't really play a lot of bad guys. But Stallone, a lot of respect for him. Watch Samaritan. Judge for yourself. We both thought it was worth watching. I don't think I will never see myself going back and rewatching Samaritan over and over again. I saw it once. That's okay. I didn't have to see it again.
It's funny. Just talk about Mr. T for a second. I don't know if you knew this anecdotally, because he does want to be a good person. He may look like a heavy.
Mr. T is very religious.
He's very.
Check his Twitter page out. He's a very decent fellow.
His mom. This is a funny story he told. When his mom saw the scene where he's trying to goad Rocky, so he's like, you know what, little woman? And he goes to Adrian, he goes, maybe you've been with a real man. I'll show you a good time. Mr. T said, my mama looked at me in the theater and she goes, how dare you play this? That is not my boy.
She didn't like that
and
at all.
He's like, I'm playing a character. And she's like, I don't like you playing that kind of character.
She didn't like that at all.
No.
I remember him saying that.
Dude, talk about not being able to separate reality and fiction. You know, a lot of people do that. They go, wait a minute, you're in a movie. That must be who you really are. Well, no, it's a character. I'm playing the part.
My mom and family would never say that if I'd ever become an actor or anything because they don't watch or listen to anything I do.
They would never see it.
I really don't have to worry about that.
He was in a movie?
I check in with my family. Hey, did you get to hear me on the radio last Saturday? No. Well, what were you doing? Waxing the floor.
What's even worse? They go, you're on the radio?
You're on the radio?
I've told you for 15 years. Oh.
We heard the guy before you on the radio.
We thought maybe it was just a passing phase.
That's right. Well, a very prominent...
We heard the guy before you. No, that's my mom.
A very prominent music composer wants to get in and delve into a certain franchise that we love. I've got that story along with
He doesn't have very long to do it.
Well, hey, who knows? Well, don't say that.
Well, it's reality.
Come on, let's not say that. Speak on there.
Balboa is so predictable and stupid. The man comes straight ahead. He's tailor-made for me, and he's gonna get hurt.
And now, these messages.
Why do you hold your root beer that way?
Because that's how I hold a frosty mug of A&W.
But that's not a frosty mug.
Sure tastes like one.
A&W root beer's got that frosty mug taste. A&W root beer's got that frosty mug taste. A&W root beer's got that frosty mug taste.
Now, Chucky, don't ever do that.
Hi, I'm Mr. T, and I'll be right back. We want to grow on.
You gotta be kidding with those baby barbell men. Well, I don't know about lifting my dad's weights. They're kind of heavy. Maybe for you, but not for the big guys like Mr. T and me.
Hey, hold it a second. That kid thinks he can look like Mr. T overnight. It took me years of slow, steady training before I became the specimen that you see today. You got to take one step at a time. You got to start small and build up. Then you move on to the next side. And when you're really prepared, then you can move on to the big time. Well, see, there are some things even T ain't ready for yet. Nothing comes easy. So if you want to get bigger, start smaller.
Do you have an extra one of those small barbells?
And that's one to grow on.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here, dispensing nostalgic geekiness talk radio with extreme prejudice here every Saturday morning here on AM 1450 at 100.3 FM WBHF. Stream us online at WBHFradio.org. If you can't hear us on the website, you can hear us there, or download the free TuneIn or Radio Garden apps, either one, and you can hear us in crystal, wonderful,
We're kind of like weird
clarity.
pirates. We don't go ARG, we go org.
WBHFradio.org.
That'd be great for National Pirate Day, but that's already passed till next week.
Arg.
I'm sure.
Time of the show where we like to flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, the bizarre. And I'm so loaded today, I don't think, well, I'm not that
Loaded?
way, but I'm loaded.
I'm loaded.
No, I'm loaded.
I'm about to be. I'll be at
You're-
Cave Springs.
You're loaded every day. You can't wait to look for, you always can't wait for the pub crawl to come along. You're like, oh, if there's a pub crawl every week, Alan would go to it.
That phrase works on so many levels
He'd
with
crawl
me. Locked and loaded.
all the time.
Physically loaded. Mentally loaded. Loaded for bear.
Oh, no, look, I have the first news. From UPI, a man paddleboarding off the coast of California captured video of his unexpected encounter
His own demise?
with something. No. He's still alive. But this was interesting. He had a close encounter with a blue whale that surfaced only a few feet away from him. Now, if you remember being in school, the blue whale is the largest mammal on Earth. That's the biggest whale. I don't know if this was the biggest one that was near him, but the blue whale is huge.
Oh yeah, they're big.
They are huge. Now they could like maybe just scoop you up in their mouth and not even know what you are. I'm like, oh, you're a human. Sorry, you were so tiny
you're
and
a big
insignificant
krill.
that I didn't know. Bill Clemens posted the video on Instagram showing the blue whale, the world's largest mammal, as we just said, surfacing just feet away for where he was. He wasn't even in a boat. He was paddleboarding.
Paddleboarding.
So
like
he's
a
even
flat
smaller.
Surfboard.
That's off the coast of Dana Point. Clement said he paddled alongside the whale for more than an hour. I've seen videos.
That would be cool.
Have you seen any of the videos where the kids go to the aquariums? I don't know, like the Tennessee Aquarium or the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, where they happen to be. And you know the cute little white whales, the beluga ones?
Beluga whales.
Aren't they cute? They look like they're smiling all the time.
Yeah.
And they're looking at kids through the glass underwater, and when the kids make these, they lift their arms up and make these spooky things, the beluga will act like it's scared, and then it'll sit there and stare at the kid, and then the beluga will go, "Ugh," like that to the kid, and they're playing with them.
Yeah.
I think that's great. They're like, oh, you cute little unintelligent human. I'm going to play with you. You think I'm a stupid animal, but I'm not. I really am
it
not.
just occurred to me. We always play that game. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? I don't know why until just this second. Mine would be to breathe underwater.
That'd be a fun one. You'd like to be Aquaman or Submariner.
It's a submariner.
That's right.
I want to be out there submarining with all the life.
That would be an interesting one to have. Mrs. BK will always, to this day, tell me she'd love to have instant teleportation. That's the one she wants. That's the one she wants. I said, well, you could be like Nightcrawler and have blue skin with a pointed tail and sharp teeth and yellow eyes. She goes, no, not if it takes that. I don't want it. I'm like, you wouldn't even give up the looks to have it. She's like, if I look bad, I don't want it.
I don't think
I don't want to be an X-Men.
You're going to look like a little miniature demon. Like, nah,
that's right.
I'm kind of, you know what? I'll just commute.
Nightcrawler. I always wanted super strength like the Hulk. If I was super strong, I could save people. Yeah. I could do stuff. I could leap miles at a time. It's almost like I could do it all.
But when I went scuba diving, and your wife would know this too, being a master diver herself, the fact that we have to be reliant on oxygen to just be able to breathe underwater, I would love. Anyway,
it would be fun. That would be fun. I'd love that. I'd love to be able to just hold my breath for more than 30 seconds. That'd be great.
All right. Well, guess what? I've got the next news.
Because I can't hold my breath, man. I can't do it.
Stop trying to do Johnny Cash. I can't hold my breath, man. No.
But I've been everywhere, though.
But I've been everywhere. An unusual smell prompted 5 fire trucks to respond to a plane at the North Carolina airport, officials said. American Airlines Flight 563 arrived at Charlotte Douglas International Airport from Pennsylvania at 7:50 a.m.
Is it a malfunctioning toilet?
I don't know. On Wednesday, and an airline representative said passengers were off-boarded as normal. The spokesperson told Queen City News the ground crew members opened the luggage compartment at around 8:15 and immediately noticed the unusual smell.
What was it?
Turns out the Charlotte Fire Department dispatched the 5 trucks to investigate the odor, and it was
stinking food.
You'll never guess.
I never guess.
Never. And I have daughters, and I would have never guessed this. A broken bottle of nail polish.
No, nail polish, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's according to what you printed for me, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, that's I've smelled nail polish before. Nail polish remover is pretty strong.
My wife is working on nails, yes.
Wow, so that's all it was.
I wouldn't have called the fire department.
It must have been pretty darn bad then.
They must have thought there was some kind of a chemical leak or maybe a fuel leak.
Was it by one of the plane's intake vents to distribute it throughout the plane order? I got the next news. Again from UPI, the principal of a Florida elementary arrived for work to something peculiar near her parking space this week. Polk County Public Schools said in a Facebook post that Lacey Golden, principal of Spessard Holland Elementary School, arrived for work Tuesday morning and found a 7-foot, 11-inch alligator near her parking spot.
Okay.
He just wanted to go to class.
Hello.
The school is known as the home of the Gators. Their mascot? An alligator. That's there. He's just coming home, man. He's just showing up for the game.
What if it's one of those movies, where the sign came to life? The mascot is overnight. Yeah.
Now, the Bartow Police Department sent officers. Bartow, Florida. The police department sent officers, including a former wildlife trapper, to the school. I'll bet they did. So, how about that?
That's irony.
Wouldn't want that to happen at the school where they're the Stevens County Giants.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd want that. Hagrid shows up.
For me, it was no big deal. We were the Yellow Jackets.
Oh,
they're everywhere.
You didn't want your mascot to show up.
Get away! Why couldn't we be a dog? I like dogs.
Ours was an Indian chief, so if he'd have showed up...
Well, you were allowed to have that then.
Yeah, that's right. I could have it back in the 70s, yeah.
What was your mascot name? Were you like the Seminoles?
We didn't have a name. He was just a figure. Yeah, he was
just a mascot?
Yep, that's right.
You didn't have a mascot name? You didn't have like a...
We couldn't afford that in our school. No costume.
What were you do? You're just like, we're the high school football team. Well, what's your name? Yeah. Football team.
Football team. Yeah. Can you spell that? No.
I've got the next news.
They could spell team.
T-I-M-E.
That's right.
Team.
That's
right.
Time! That's right.
From UPI, a Chinese puzzle enthusiast broke a Guinness World Record by solving 3 Rubik's Cubes in 3 minutes and 29.29 seconds while juggling the puzzles.
Oh, another one of those.
Yeah, Guinness World Records announced that Li Jinxiao broke the record for fastest time to solve 3 rotating puzzle cubes while juggling during an attempt in Jimin, Fujian.
Wow.
So this was obviously overseas. This was not next door. Lee solved the 3 puzzles while juggling in 3 minutes and 29.29 seconds. Lee previously earned Guinness World Record titles for most rotating puzzle cubes solved while suspended upside down, 195. Most rotating puzzle cubes solved using one hand while suspended upside down, 104.
Even imagine that.
Fastest time to solve a rotating puzzle cube by a team of 2, 12.59 seconds. And fastest time to solve rotating puzzle cube by a team of 2 underwater, 18.93 seconds. I think this guy likes solving the Rubik's Cube.
Can I just say that solving, if the conditions were perfect and I could use my hands and take as long as I wanted to solve a Rubik's Cube, I'd never break a record because I could never solve one. I got one side. I mean, it's easy to get one side, but I never, ever completely solved a Rubik's Cube.
If you could tell me that you'll be able to solve this, you'll be able to do it in 3 minutes, I will think I am the greatest Rubik's Cube user in the world. I'm going to solve it in 3 minutes?
I could never do that. I mean, it's mathematical, and I'm not a mathematical person.
Hours.
Yes, I'm sure.
Never could solve it.
Computers, in a way, programming, are mathematical. I can't do that. I'm not good at mathematics. I love classical music. I've been a classical music lover for years. Even the music that I gravitate toward in the classical music realm, I'm not a fan of the mathematical classical music, which happens to be Bach. His mathematical, but Bach, but mostly, if you listen to Bach's organ music and the way it's written, it's very mathematical. It's like musical algebra.
Everything is music. It's whole, half, eighth, quarter, 16th notes, 32nd. It's all fractions in music.
Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and a little bit of division. That's what I can do. But when they told me you never had a calculator when you were a kid,
only pawn.
You didn't see my cell phone.
Sponsored by Parker Brothers. Homemade fun for over 90 years.
Parker Brothers bonkers, within funny, twisted track can send you backward to go forward or forward to go back. The bonkers board keeps changing with every single play. With bonkers cards and bonkers dice, it is not the same game twice. And you go back and forward faster in a bonkers kind of fun. And you're certain that you're losing when suddenly you've won. Bonkers is fun, bonkers is nice, bonkers is never the same game twice.
Bonkers from Parker Brothers.
Munch a bunch, a bunch, a bunch, a munch, a bunch, a munch, a bunch of Fritos go with lunch. Munch a bunch, a bunch, a bunch, a munch, a bunch, a munch, a bunch of Fritos go with lunch.
Nothing gives your old lunch new life like Fritos brand corn chips. So munchy, so full of good corn taste.
Munch a bunch, a munch a bunch, munch a bunch, a munch a bunch, munch a bunch of Fritos go with lunch.
Fritos corn chips make lunch much better.
This is Stop Thief, a computerized cops and robbers game where an electronic crime scanner gives you clues
Door.
to catch an invisible thief.
A broken window. What is that?
In Stop Thief, when you think you know where the thief is, make the arrest.
Here come the cops.
I think he got him.
9-volt battery not included. Stop Thief, an electronic cops and robbers game, new from Parker Brothers.
we're back. It's BK on the air here on WBHF. I want to say hello to everyone down at Dragon Con. Dragon Con is going on in Atlanta. It's Labor Day weekend, and happy Labor Day weekend to you. I hope you're having a great 3-dayer. But we'll get to the who's, the what's, the where's, and the details about Dragon Con. It happens every Labor Day weekend in Atlanta. If you've never been, check it out. We'll get a little bit more into it as the program unfolds. So we have a couple of more news flashes to go on here. One of them happens to be this one that I have. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officers discovered more than 1,500 pounds of cocaine hidden in a place.
It's your musical cue of the
where
day.
You would least expect it. That's right, cocaine. The narcotics seizure occurred last Friday at the Laredo-Columbia Solidarity International Bridge, according to the agency in a news release. The bridge, located on the U.S.-Mexico border, connects Laredo, Texas, over the Rio Grande and the Mexican state of Nuevo Leon. Officials say a CBP officer at the Laredo-Columbia Bridge stopped a tractor-trailer bringing in a shipment, this is what it was hidden in, of baby wipes.
Yep.
Did you see that?
I heard the story.
They brought it in for a secondary inspection. Following the inspection, drug-sniffing dogs, they made the discovery of what CBP described as 1,935 packages of cocaine totaling 1,532 pounds. The agency says the estimated street value of the seized cocaine totaled more than $11.8 million.
That's a lot of cocaine.
Hidden in baby wipes.
Didn't they?
Don't wipe your baby with cocaine.
Maybe it was something different, but I saw a thing last night on the news. It was just on in the studio, so I didn't hear it. That whatever was seized, some big giant drug shipment, they said the world's most expensive fire, and they burned all of these drugs, and it was
really?
$81 million worth of drugs. It was like most
up in smoke,
like the most expensive. Up in smoke. Well, what about Santa Claus?
Don't mistake cocaine for talcum powder with your baby either, and baby wipes and stuff. That wouldn't be good.
This is pure snow.
Don't
do you know what the street value of this stuff is? There's an allusion to a movie. Do you know the movie? Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead. Yeah.
Dude's up on the top of the mountain, gonna ski down the hill. He's like, "This is pure snow."
Yeah. Or
you can't find that everywhere.
WKRP episode when they hire a DJ to replace Dr. Johnny Fever, and he's taking payola from a record company to play certain records, that's against the law to do that, and they catch the guy in the stock room doing coke in the stock room, and he's like, listen, man, I'm not going to turn you in. You're going to turn yourself in. You shouldn't be doing that while you're working here at this radio station because we don't like that. Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Carlson, the clueless radio station manager, Mr. Carlson comes in and he goes, "Hey, what is that?" he has it, and he's like, it's foot powder. He's like, "Can I borrow some of that?" So he gives it to Mr. Carlson, and he puts it. The cocaine, he doesn't know it's cocaine. He puts it in his sock and puts it on his shoes back on. He's like, $1,000 in his shoes.
Do you know how much those socks cost now? That's right. The street value of those socks.
You and I don't have a problem, and we think it's funny because we don't participate in things like that. So we think it is kind of sad and funny.
I like to save my money for other things.
Yes, like other things that make us naturally high, which is the natural high of all life that we love.
Going down Dry Creek in a kayak.
Yes,
which I'll be doing
capsizing into the 4-foot water like I did.
I hope I don't. All right, I've got the last news. We'll eventually get through this.
I'll pray for you. I hope you don't, but you can recover. You're a good swimmer.
I am a good swimmer. Yeah. I'm not worried about that. I actually joined the Navy because I knew I could swim. Unlike some of the people who I was in boot camp with, I was like...
Alan was in the Navy.
I was in the Navy. Like, you joined the Navy, right? You understood what the Navy was, right? Like, yeah, and you can't swim? What were you thinking?
Did they adapt the Navy song from YMCA, from the Village People? Isn't that their song? The official Navy song? It's not. I thought it was.
No.
Oh, okay.
It'd be Anchors Away.
That's a good one, too. World War II.
From the AP, an authenticated Apple I computer prototype from the mid-1970s has sold at auction for nearly $700,000. The prototype was used by Apple co-founder Steve Jobs in '76 to demonstrate the Apple I to Paul Terrell, owner of the Byte Shop in Mountain View, California, one of the first personal computer stores in the world. Boston-based RR Auctions said in a statement, a Bay Area collector who wishes to remain anonymous made the winning $677,196 bid on Thursday, The auctioneer said the board has been matched to Polaroid photographs taken by Terrell in 1976, showing the prototype in use. It was also examined and authenticated by Apple One expert Corey Cohen, who notarized a 13-page report accompanying the sale. The prototype resided on the Apple garage property for many years before being given by Jobs to the seller about 30 years ago.
Wow. Did you know I don't know a lot about computers? I know you do. You work with them for the long time. But the first computer that I ever looked at and touched, other than friends having the old PCs with the cassette tape recorder to put their data on and stuff like that, which that's old. The first one, a bona fide one that ever sat down and started letting someone show me about how to do things and getting around on it was a little Apple SE30, the little tall one with the black and white screen with a little disc opening in the front.
Was it black and white or green and white?
It was black and white, I think. I think it was black and white. I can't remember.
I know
no, it was black and white. It was black and white.
Black and white. Okay. Because I know they went to like the green and white or green and black and green for a long time, the little built-in monitors.
Was the black and white one later or before that?
I don't know.
It was. I was amazed because he had a game on it that I was playing called, I think it was called Dark Castle, where it's just this guy walking through a castle and he has to step on things to open gates. Then you have to press a certain keyboard sequence to make him jump and hold on to the ledge and then pull himself up and then keep walking. And the only weapon he could get, we could bend over and pick up rocks and throw it at things. It was very simple, but I was like, this is fun. It'll never get any better than this. This is the most awesome thing since Pong that I'd played. So that's the first computer that I got kind of introduced into computers with, was the Apple SE30. Then later on, a friend of mine gave me his old Power PC pizza box one. It was a big flat, looked like a pizza box that the monitor sat on top of, and I used that computer for almost 8 years before I got anything else.
I think my first, outside of the Atari 2600 game console, but like computer was the Commodore 64.
I remember the Commodore. Someone had, and someone else had the Intellivision one where I love this game called Demon Attack on there, and it was fun. But then, Atari had Pac-Man and Asteroids and stuff. But yeah, the computers, they've come a long way. But that story is fascinating because that was, to have a piece of history
it
like
truly
that
is.
Has to be something for someone that loves computers and knows about it.
Yeah. Truly historic.
Well, I know that there's probably some computer nerds, and when I use that term computer nerd, I say it complimentary because I think it's great. Dragon Con, it's Labor Day weekend, and I printed out the story from Paul Milliken at Fox 5 Atlanta. Did you know Paul at Fox 5 here locally in Atlanta, our Fox affiliate, did a story on the Portal Pinball in Kennesaw not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw him.
They moved from their location across town to Cobb Parkway, and it's a huge, wonderful classic arcade outfit where they have pinball machines and classic video games in there, and you pay play a flat fee every hour just to play for free, and it's really fun. Well, Paul also did this story for Fox 5 on Dragon Con 2022, Heroes and Legends headline Dragon Con. When it comes to having true pop culture references and influence, few cities rival the reach of Atlanta. After all, Atlanta's the home of the biggest Marvel blockbusters and filming like the Netflix hit Stranger Things and some of the best gamers in the world. And hey, we just watched Samaritan and we were picking out all the Atlanta locations, and Samaritan was Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, I know where that is. I know that building. I see that building. Dragon Con is back in downtown Atlanta through Monday, September the 5th. Now, we probably don't need to explain what Dragon Con is, or maybe we do. If you listen to this program, you know what it is. It's kind of hard to miss every year when it comes to town. But just in case you're new to town or don't know what it is, the 5-day event is a celebration of science fiction and fantasy, films and TV shows, gaming, comics, literature, wrestling, music, costumes. I mean, you name it. It's down there, and much more. The event broke an attendance record back in 2019. I think they were breaking them over and over again with more than, get this, 2019, 80,000 fans were showing up for the festivities in downtown Atlanta after being paused in 2020 due to that, that big, huge thing that we all got peed off about.
Yes.
When the world got sick for a little while, fans returned for an in-person Dragon Con last year. Now, I cannot name all the guests that are down there, but here's just a few that I'll point out that my audience will recognize and appreciate. William Shatner is going to be there. Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers are going to be there. Voice talent Jim Cummings will be there. We talked about him on the podcast with Pat McCormack and the Golden Age of TV when we were talking cartoon voices. Plus Sam J. Jones and Melanie Anderson from Flash Gordon and many others. Just go to dragoncon.org if you want more information, because there's no way that I can do it justice on on the air by talking about it. Go there and you can look at every guest that's there, every event. They partner with the Georgia Aquarium sometimes to do things. They have food specials set up. They have just about anything you want. The only thing that I don't like that they're requiring this year is they want you to wear a mask down there again. And I thought we were beyond that. And I'm like,
and yet
why?
I'm seeing pictures of people without them, so I don't know
think
how
they take them off for pictures and then put them back
I don't
back
know
on.
how enforced it is. It's stupid.
But I'm like, okay, what if I'm wearing? Okay, let's say I go to Dragon Con this year and I want to go as Darth Vader. All right, do I wear the mask on the outside of the Vader mask or the inside of it, or I just don't wear one because the Vader mask is a mask?
It's every bit as effective.
That's right.
What's
it really
so
is.
funny is
it really
a couple
is.
of blocks away from Dragon Con, you could go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and watch a game.
And there's no masks.
No mask. You could go to up to Cobb and go to Truist Park, watch a baseball game. No mask.
Well,
it's so dumb.
It's truly something to behold. It may be it should be on your best bucket list if you're a fantasy and sci-fi comic books fan of that kind of stuff or this program. Go check it out. I do understand. I think that when they have a parade downtown, I think a lot of people just go for that because that's free. I got to just find a place to park. Good luck, or park somewhere off the beaten path and take MARTA to downtown. Get off right down there in MARTA and bring the escalators up from the MARTA station and go right up there and watch the parade and have something to eat. And it's really cool because you could make fun of Dragon Con all you want. There are people there that make costumes that I would never be able in a million years to make.
Oh, it's stunning.
I mean, some of them are engineers. The Iron Man costumes, the RoboCop costumes, the ones that are form-fitting and look movie quality.
Oh, dude, the one my buddy Jeff McClure, who's been at the night at the museum a few times when they were doing that, tell us his Iron Man is off the chain.
It looks like Tony Stark. I mean, that built it.
Yeah,
it really
it's
does.
crazy.
So Dragon Con, if you're down there and you want to check in, you're listening to me. I always encourage people, listen to me while you're at Dragon Con down there. Put me on your iPod and listen on the headphones and walk around and tell me what's going on. Speak down there. We'll be back after this break.
Which of you Magic experts has created the toughest game for Atari's video system?
Demon attack! Tough!
Hello there, Fire Breath.
You not good at demon attack! You win! I'm winning!
Good work, Voltar. Demon attack really is tough. Magic's Demon Attack.
Tough!
In television version, coming soon.
Inchworm, you gotta know. Won't you with me everywhere I go? Inchworm, inchworm, I'm telling you true. Inchworm, I love you. Inchworm, I love you. Ride up and down on the Inchworm from Romper Room.
Your audience is ready, so put on your dancing shoes. Reach out and touch someone. Reach out and turn them upside down. When you have a great day, reach for the phone and share the occasion with people back home. Reach out and touch a winning smile.
Reach out and touch someone far away. Give them a call.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Every Saturday I like to take what I loved as a little kid and condense it down into 2 hours every Saturday. Well, as a teenager too. 2 hours every Saturday where I usually never get it all in time. I always wind up having more to talk about than I have time for, which is a good thing. I mean, if you have more than your fair share, you have a lot more than you really need. I guess that's okay. It's still on this day in history. Today is September the 3rd. Is it already September? Wow.
Yes.
September the 3rd. We got a lot of things that happened on this day in history. 1951, on this day in history, the TV soap opera Search for Tomorrow debuts on CBS.
Oh, my gosh. I hadn't heard about that one in a
Search
long time.
for Tomorrow. 1972, number one on the Billboard charts 50 years ago. Gilbert O'Sullivan and Alone Again Naturally. Do you remember that song? We play it.
That song.
We play it. It was kind of a depressing song, but it's kind of a catchy little. I always thought he sounded like Paul McCartney. His voice reminded me of Paul McCartney a little bit. On this day in history, 1976, the bicentennial Viking 2 soft lands on Mars. there on Utopia and returns photos. I thought that was like amazing. We'd gone to Mars with Viking as a kid. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is Space 1999 all over. This is really cool. And what have we done since then? We've done a lot, including land a probe on a comet millions of miles away. We just keep getting better and better. And aren't we getting ready for another trip to the moon?
Yes.
With Artemis 1?
Artemis 1.
Yeah, which had to be delayed.
May
Is it
launch
launched
today. I thought that was.
We'll have to check that out.
You know, the coolest thing, they said the new mission, this rocket is part one of getting us a colony on the moon.
Yep. So
for further space exploration.
Just don't put a lot of nuclear waste up there and let it blow up and blow the moon out of Earth's orbit. We don't want to replay a Space 1999.
We need the moon for our tides and all that stuff.
Let's not get rid of it. 1995, on this day in history, eBay is founded. In 1995. To me, seems like a lot older than that, but no, it was just 1995. This computer stuff hasn't been around. This Netflix, Netscape Navigator, the internet, stuff like that. We think it's become so commonplace, and I think it's been around longer, but it really hasn't. This has happened pretty quickly.
We're coming up on 30 years, though.
See how fast? But does it really feel like it was that long ago to you? I mean, I'm like, oh, this is a browser? This is email?
This is
wow, this is kind of cool.
If you remade Back to the Future and set it contemporary, would you really feel it's that vastly different just by going back 30 years?
Not now, but when Back to the Future came out, going back to the 50s, you did.
Yes, it was a huge difference.
But we made a huge jump.
You'd have to jump like 60 years in time.
Another computer thing here, 2013, on this day in history, Microsoft purchases Nokia for $7.2 billion on this day in 2013. That's pretty cool. And in 2021, on this day, September 3rd, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings opens. Marvel Cinematic Universe movie in 2021. Birthdays. Hey, it's a few people's birthdays today. Today is Al Jardine's birthday. Does that name ring a bell with you? Al Jardine. He's a guitarist of the Beach Boys. A singer as well. He's one of their singers in Beach Boys. I think when Brian Wilson was gone from the Beach Boys for a while, do you know who they replaced him with as a guitarist? Glenn Campbell. Of all people, the country guy. He's a great guitarist, great songwriter, but he was a Beach Boy for a little while.
It's crazy.
They didn't do any country music at that point, I don't think. Today is Valerie Perine's birthday, American actress and model. She was in Steambath, the movie Lenny, and she was in Superman. Superman 1 and 2, I think, is the two Superman she was in. You know who she played in Superman? I'll have to let's let Lex Luthor tell you who she played in Superman.
Miss Tessmacher!
She plays Miss Tessmacher. In Superman and Superman 2. Today is Merritt Buttrick's birthday, American actor. Does that guy's name ring a bell?
It's Kirk's son.
That is David Marcus in Star Trek II. They're at the con. He was also in a TV show called Square Pegs about new wave kids in high school. It didn't last very long on CBS, but Sarah Jessica Parker starred in Square Pegs back in the day. And I think Jamie Gertz was in it with her and him.
Square peg, square, hey! Always never quite right. Square peg, I'd like it if they like us, but I don't think they like us. Square peg, hey! Don't want to wear my glasses, I have to wear my glasses. Square peg, hey! Square peg, hey! One size does not fit all.
And it was about that 80s type of high school, gag me with a spoon, Valley Girl type thing, you know. Yeah, he was also in Star Trek The Next Generation as an alien. He played a character in it.
That's right.
Along with, I think he was in the same episode with the guy that played Khan's son in The Wrath of Khan.
Yes,
they played
the
together.
Two of them together.
I
remember
wonder if they remembered him in The Wrath of Khan and decided to cast them.
Weren't
Probably
they on
so.
opposites factions?
They were, and they had little things on the nose to make them look like aliens. They were like barely aliens, but they were. But they were fighting.
I remember that.
They could shock people when they touched them. You just recently watched The Next Generation not too long ago.
Yeah.
Merritt Buttrick died in 1989, unfortunately. Today's birthday, too. Today is Carlos Estevez's birthday today. Actor. You may have seen him in a few things.
Is he part of the Estevez family?
Wait a minute. No, well, he goes by Charlie Sheen.
That would make more sense.
Now, Emilio uses that name.
Right.
And I think is it Martin Sheen's real last name, or is that their mom's last name that they choose? I have to look that up. I always confuse that. Because that's their real last name, but I can't remember if it's Martin Sheen, their dad's last name, or their mom's maiden name. Somebody knows. They're screaming right now. They know. It's always National Something Day every day, and what would you do without us to tell you what day it is? Today is the U.S. Bowling League Day. Now, bowling was something that I do like to frequently do every now and then. I did it in high school and when I was a kid, and I like to bowl. It's kind of fun. It's one of those sports where I'm like, I can actually do okay at this. Bowling, volleyball, and pool, I can do those. Football, baseball, basketball, no, I can't do that. But the physical one I'm actually pretty good at is volleyball. I always loved playing volleyball. Except on the beach. It's fun, but when you add sand to the mix, or if you try to run and walk on sand, it makes it about 50% harder to do because you have to work more to do it. I see those guys when we go down to Panama City or the Gulf Shores at the Gulf of Mexico, and early morning, we'll get up, we're having our breakfast on the balcony of the condo, and I'm like 20 stories up, and I'm looking down at the beach. I'm like, these guys and gals are running on the beach early in the morning, like at 8 or 9 o'clock before anybody's out there. And they're just running with no effort. And I'm like, man, that's building up muscle in the sand like you would not believe. I could run probably 20 feet in sand and go, oh, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Can I go walk on concrete?
Stick a fork in me.
Instead, yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, but it is U.S. Bowling League Day. Today is National Welsh Rarebit Day. Have you ever had Welsh Rarebit? It's a delicacy. It's food. Have you ever heard of it? Welsh Rarebit, R-A-E-B-I-T, Rarebit.
Nope.
It's kind of a spicy, cheesy toast. And again, originated in England, obviously, but there's a recipe for it, and I had it back years ago. It's kind of spicy too. It's a spicy cheese.
I would like it.
And you put it over toast and just serve it that way and eat it. And I remember liking it. And I printed out a recipe, and I didn't bring it in, but it involves like red pepper mix, and you make your own cheese with red pepper, and Worcestershire sauce or whatever. And it's actually really good. So try it. National Welsh Rarebit Day. There's an episode of Gomer Pyle where he loves it. And they say Welsh Rarebit, don't eat it before you go to bed because it'll give you nightmares and make you sleepwalk. And in the episode he sleepwalks in the episode, and he's completely opposite of the way he really is. When he sleepwalks, he's just letting Carter have it left and right. He's like, how dare you say that to me, Sergeant Carter? You're crazy. I'm on blah, blah. It's a pretty cool episode. Today is National Cinema Day.
Yay.
Celebrates movie lovers across the country and encourages them to return to the theater and enjoy a movie on the big screen. And also a lot of theaters today are celebrating that by offering movies for $3 today.
I heard that.
So
Call ahead.
Check it out. Make sure your theater is doing it. I may go try to see something, and it's International Bacon Day today.
That's every day.
International. Yeah, fine. It's like National Dog Day with us.
Yeah,
it's every day. It's BK on the air. We'll be back.
Look, the fact remains Pyle has turned into a sleepwalker. And if you think this stuff is all it took, you're crazy. And I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you just to show you that I'm as fair as they come. Watch, Boyle. I'm going to eat some of this stuff just to show you that we know only two facts for certain. One, Pyle is a bona fide sleepwalker. And two, this is a plate of Welsh rabbit. And three, it's very hot.
We will return after these messages.
Hey, Sergeant, you want some of this new Cool Whip topping?
Later, Pyle. I'm getting in shape in case our Cool Whip contest winner's a girl. Anybody can win a trip to Hollywood and a guest appearance on the show.
With us?
Yeah. What a prize. Just send your name and address on the side label or write the words Cool Whip on a piece of paper. Get full details at your grocer's freezer. Over 1,000 other prizes, too.
Cool Whip. Mmm.
Shazam!
Hi, this is Jackie Gleason. Maybe you think you can't make money writing, but 10 million Americans have proved you can. What they wrote is their name, right here on an application form for the payroll savings plan. All of a sudden, boom, the United States savings bonds start rolling in, with money saved painlessly out of your paycheck. Before you know it, a nest egg appears. Try it. Be a writer. How sweet it is.
We're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Man, I love coming in here every Saturday and having a good time. Wanted to be on the radio since I was a kid, and I finally got my wish. Some people say, be careful what you wish for. You may get it. I'm like, okay, sometimes that's not too bad of a thing. Another movie I watched, along with Samaritan with Sylvester Stallone, I watched an older movie that happened to be on one of the channels a couple of nights ago. Ron Howard's Backdraft was on. And, Kurt Russell and Scott Glenn and one of the Baldwin brothers. I can't remember who the youngest one was in it. I can't remember. It's not. I can't remember which one it is.
It's not Adam.
Not Adam. He's the bigger one. Steve Baldwin.
Steve Baldwin.
I can't remember which one it is. But I remember watching it.
And Robert De Niro has got a small part.
Robert De Niro's the fire inspector guy that tries to prove what started the fire. But I forgot Jennifer and Jason Leigh is in it. I'd forgotten about her. She works for the alderman of Chicago that's kind of corrupt or whatever. And who else is in it that I saw that I'm like, Donald Sutherland plays the Hannibal Lecter-like arsonist they talked to in the prison. Remember that? He's very creepy in it. And somebody else is in it, and I can't remember who else is in it. Scott Glenn is great. I mean, he's great. It's a good movie. And I remember seeing it in the theater, and kind of like we were talking about Sylvester Stallone earlier being a actor-director. Mel Gibson's an actor-director. Clint Eastwood is an actor-turned-director. Well, Ron Howard turned into quite a nice little director as well. Directed Backdraft. And I'd forgotten how much I liked Backdraft. It still held up. I watched it. It's a great copy of it, but it had commercials, and I didn't care. But I really enjoyed it. You liked Backdraft, didn't you? Did you like it?
Loved Backdraft. I've seen it multiple times, but I haven't seen it probably... It's probably been at least 10 years since I've last seen it.
I think somebody's calling in. Let's see who's on the line right now. Hey, it's BK on there. Hello. Oh, no, they didn't want to stay on the line. By the way, we weren't really corrected by Eric, but Eric, our frequent caller, Eric called while we were on a break and said, yes, it's Charlie Sheen's last name. Martin Sheen's last name is Estevez, their dad. That's his real last name. So that's kind of cool. I just didn't know which one it was, his mom or his dad had that last name. Well, this week I learned you and I love movie music and scores. We think, if there's a great... Sometimes movie soundtracks are better than the films. We're like, I love the soundtrack to that movie. The movie stinks, though. Right. But the soundtrack is fantastic. Well, we are also big fans of John Williams. He's a great musical guy. He started a long time ago. Johnny. I mean, let's go right quick. Let's hit him pretty quick. John Williams, movie soundtrack composer. Jaws.
I recognize that.
He did.
We could play Name That Song.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to go through him. He wrote the music to Close Encounters. He wrote the music to Star Wars. He wrote the music to Raiders of the Lost Ark. John Williams. He also wrote the music to E.T. I mean, this man has been all over the place.
After looking back at E.T., the music still works. The movie, not so much.
That's true, but the movie was classic, and some people love it. It just didn't age well with you and I. He also wrote the music to Superman. Who can you name that has written more soundtracks that everyone pretty much knows that aren't even in the movies?
The themes that you probably don't even realize.
Hear.
Harry Potter.
Oh, funny you should say that. He also wrote the music to Harry Potter.
Which I think
not all of them, but he did the main theme that's always used.
And the crazy thing, he did the first 3 movies. The third movie is my favorite, and
it is.
Of all the scores for all of the Harry Potter films, it's my favorite score.
It is. It's my favorite movie and my favorite soundtrack. It really is. The Goblet of Fire was my next favorite, which is the next film, which Patrick Doyle does the music for it, the guy who usually collaborates with Kenneth Branagh, but he still uses John Williams' theme. They kept the theme through whatever composer
you created it. It'd be like saying, we're going to do Raiders, but we'll do a different theme.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Well, you know what? John Williams has said recently, and I'll tell you, I'll get into a little more detail with it here in a second. He also he expressed his desire to do another movie franchise if they could be so kind to let him do it. That's right. John Williams, you think he could handle James Bond? To be honest, I think John Williams could handle anything that he does because he's been able to do that for years. The story is all over the place, but it's from I think the BBC is where it was originally reported. John Williams is perhaps the single most, as we said, accomplished composer in Hollywood history. I won't argue with that. Working on Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Steven Spielberg's movies, we talked about it. There's one particular action movie franchise he has his eyes on, though, before he lays down the baton for good, and that's 007. Now, in an interview with The Guardian, Williams revealed that he's keen to add his talents to the 007's next thriller movie. When asked about the project, his reply was simply, "I'd love it." Quote unquote. He goes on to discuss the joy and accomplishments in the interview he gets from creating music, stating that his whole career has been about pushing forward and finding new avenues to explore. Now, I'm a little confused. I don't know whether I didn't get it right or they reported it wrong or it was weird or I remember reading something and I didn't read it. I know he said that he was retired after Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. He goes, okay, I'm done with Star Wars. We'll move on. Well, he came back to compose the soundtrack, the theme for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the streaming series. I guess he didn't need to do the whole soundtrack, but he did do the theme to that. So that's fine. I guess it's okay. Then I thought he was retiring after the new Indiana Jones film, which he is scoring, by the way. How could you by your statement earlier, how can you not do Indiana Jones without John Williams? You can do it without Steven Spielberg, obviously, right, but not without John Williams. So I thought he was retiring after that. Apparently not. Now he wants to go out, maybe, and who knows if this would be the last one. But I was thinking, if he gets to score the next Bond film, John Williams, and I would be all for it. Why would you? Who in their right mind would go, no, I don't think John Williams should do a Bond film? Why would you say no? John Barry did them for years, and a lot of other composers did. Marvin Hamlich did one. Michael Kamen, you remember him, did Robin Hood and The Hunt for Red October. He did not Red October. Robin Hood and what else did Michael Kamen do? That I can try. I'm mixing it with Basil Poledouris. Michael Kamen did one of the Bond films. David Arnold did several of the films with Pierce Brosnan. He was a really great composer that did Stargate and a lot of other movies. So why not let John Williams have a crack at it? I wouldn't be against that. That would be great. The only thing that
you're up against in terms of timeline is he's not getting younger,
right? And
we have no idea where the franchise is going. And they're not in any hurry
doing the Bond film yet. They're still not even announced it yet.
It's going to be one of those things where he's like, I'm going to just drop this, knowing it's likely not going to happen, but I'll be in the headlines for the next week.
But if it does, more power to him, because I'd love to see him score a Bond film. So how cool would that be if you finally go out? I don't mean pass away. I mean go out and retire. When your last work was Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, then you went into Indiana Jones and 5 or whatever it's called, and then you do you compose the Obi-Wan Kenobi theme for a streaming series, and then you do a James Bond movie. If those are your swan songs, that's not bad.
Crazy.
That's pretty great, and I'd love to see what he could do with Bond. And you know that he would keep the Bond theme, like any other composer would. Yeah, like everyone keeps his theme when they recompose his movie or redo his movie. So. Yeah, so put me in the yes column for John Williams doing a James Bond movie. I've heard first time I remember seeing his name was on a Twilight Zone episode. Twilight Zone, Gilligan's Island, the first season of Gilligan's Island. He composed almost all the music, the incidental music in the episodes, not the song, but he did most of the music for the first black and white season of Gilligan's Island. John Williams, Lost in Space, Irwin Allen, Time Tunnel. A lot of those TV shows that he worked on.
There is, and I never realized I was drawing the two together, but my ear picked up on it. There is a moment in the Millennium Falcon escaping from the Death Star and fighting off the 4 TIE fighters. Middle of the fight when they shoot one of the things down here.
Right.
That's exactly like Lost in Space.
There's also a scene in Empire where he's running away from the things. It sounds like
when
it too.
I was a kid hearing this similarity, there was nothing to go to the internet to look up.
I
would have had it confirmed. Right, yeah. Oh, that's why it sounds similar. Same guy.
Yeah, he did. But John Williams, though, let's be honest, he's the one that repeats himself the least.
True.
You can only tell it's him sometimes.
But it's his sound
when you hear it, though. Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. I agree. He cannibalizes his stuff the least.
You know who?
But it still sounds like John Williams.
For a while, the two biggest cannibalizers of their own music were James Horner and Danny Elfman. They were really the biggest two, I think, that did it. Some of the others did to a certain point, like Elmer Bernstein did it a little bit, and but even when you got a group, to me, everybody goes, what music group, what rock group sounds the most alike than any other rock group? And my answer was always, it's AC/DC. Because when you hear them, you're like, wait a minute, didn't I not hear this little riff or ending of this song in the last song they did? And there was nothing wrong with it because that's their sound. But I think they sound most like themselves all the time. AC/DC is one of them. Boston had their sound. You knew it was them. Right. Don't know if it was an unknown song. You're like, well, that's Boston. I didn't even have to hear it. Right. A lot of it to tell that was them. Let's be on there. Let's talk about a Pinewood Studio soundstage that honors an actor that we all know and love when we come back. It's another James Bond tie-in and a Star Wars prop selling for lots of money.
Hey, CBS. CBS? What's coming on?
Friday, blast off to a galaxy far, far away. It's the Star Wars Holiday Special, starring all your Star Wars favorites. Will Chewbacca get home to his planet in time for the big Wookiee holiday celebration? Watch and find out. Then on Flying High, the girls put it on and take it off.
You know what?
What?
I don't think either one of us is going to get much sleep tonight.
Join us for a Far Out Friday, beginning at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
You're on.
Tomorrow on CBS.
I am stuck on Band-Aid brand 'cause Band-Aid stuck on me. I am stuck on Band-Aid 'cause Band-Aid stuck on me. 'Cause they really stick to your fingers and they stick on Band-Aid knees.
Remember, only Johnson & Johnson makes Band-Aid brand adhesive bandages with the unique Super Stick adhesive. Depend on the protection of America's #1 bandage.
I am stuck on Band-Aid 'cause Band-Aid stuck on me.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Having a good time every Saturday. It's keeping on. We're winding up here toward the end here, about 20 more minutes or so. If you're listening on the
Don't
podcast,
say that.
that
That's
doesn't mean
sad.
much. But well, you know, all things.
We're supposed to be
end.
happy.
I take a week break. I'm off for a week. Somebody's like, "I'll be back tomorrow." No, it's every week for me. And but it's okay though. I can do other stuff and have fun. Not as much fun. You and I are the only guys that are off our job when we go on vacation and we think about and miss our job. That's
Right.
pretty cool. To have that kind of,
It's an interesting
kind of job. I love that.
place to be.
Well, I got this story. I was going to talk about it. I did put it on Facebook, but I want to talk about it now, too, on the show. Pinewood Studios has a new sound stage honoring somebody.
James Bond.
Mr. Bond, I suppose you wouldn't care to raise the limit?
I have no objections.
Playing a little cards there from James Bond. Pinewood Studios made the announcement to mark what would have been his 92nd birthday on August the 25th. The new soundstage honors Sean Connery, my favorite Bond. Well, I love him and Roger Moore because Roger Moore is my generation's Bond. But overall, if you look at all of them, you're like, Sean Connery is the best Bond. He really was. His sons, Jason and Stephanie Connery, his sons, Jason and Stefan Connery, said it was a great honor and fitting considering the amount of work that he's done. Pinewood Studios said his interpretation of the role helped establish the foundation for the success of the James Bond series. Sean Connery played James Bond in films including Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger, just to name a few. Connery was also featured in many other films shot at Pinewood from 1957 onward, including Woman of Straw, The Russia House with Michelle Pfeiffer, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner, and Entrapment. Wasn't that with Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Remember that, too? That was a later film. Now, the Pinewood chairman, Paul Golding, said, quote, "We are delighted to announce that one of our 5 new sound stages, 5 of them, wow, at Pinewood Studios will be named the Sean Connery Stage," unquote. Now, not thinking of Bond, I thought about this, and I was going to run it by you, too, while we're talking about it. Favorite non-Bond Connery roles? Somebody put that out there on Twitter and goes, what's your favorite role that Connery did that wasn't James Bond? And I have about 4 or 5 of them that I can really spotlight and talk about that I love. But what comes to mind to you, Alan, Bond, that Sean Connery did?
How do you not like the no-nonsense Irishman cop from Untouchables?
That's on my list. Didn't he win an Academy Award for that? I think he won for that. Let me look that up.
Did he for Best Supporting Actor?
Or he was nominated.
He was phenomenal. Talk about just...
Oh, yeah.
He chose not to wear the hairpiece. He chose to go just straight on. Just such a fun character. I know it's a Kevin Costner vehicle. I know he plays the straight man, but that movie would not be nearly as good had Sean Connery not been in it.
What did he win an Oscar for?
I can't tell you.
I got to make sure.
I love, and yes. I love it because I love the books.
1988 Academy Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, The Untouchables. He won for that.
I love him. Now, it's not dramatic. You're not going to get like you're going to get with Untouchables, but I love Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October is on my list, too. So far, you've hit 2 of the 5 or the 4 that I have on my list that he shines in. Those are great.
I love him in High Noon in Space.
Outland. Yes, very good
I
movie.
think that he's, once again, a no-nonsense kind of a cop that's supposed to be so kind of well, he cuts corners and doesn't really do his job. We can bring him up here
right.
and we hide our drug running behind him.
Right.
He won't ever investigate.
Right, and
Loved it.
and he did exactly that. He did more than his job in it. He wanted to he wanted to prove that he could be the right type of lawman.
It was so good. So
it was very good.
Those are three
That's
of my
good, too.
top Sean Connery roles.
The Untouchables is on my list. Hunt for Red October is on my list too. Just the opposite of the Untouchables. He decided to use the hairpiece in that one as the submarine commander. Yeah, I will also throw into the mix Name of the Rose, where he plays the monk teacher to Christian Slater.
Little dark. I was going to say dark. Independent film. It
What
was very
a
small.
departure for him though as a role, and he did it beautifully. What a great murder mystery in a place where in a monastery. It was a chilling movie,
right?
And also, if you've never seen him in a movie from 1976 where he plays Robin Hood, but he plays an old Robin Hood that's retired called Robin and Marion.
Yeah.
And what's the lady's name in Breakfast at Tiffany's? Who am I thinking of? Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn plays the aging Maid Marian with him in their twilight years, and it's got a very controversial ending to it, but it's a fantastic movie about an aged Robin Hood trying to go on one last little adventure, but he's old. He can't do that stuff anymore, and it has a little bit of comedy to it, but Robert Shaw plays the sheriff in it. Another Robert Shaw. Remember we were talking last week, what role did Robert Shaw do badly? None of them.
None.
He's great in Robin and Marion, too. But that's another role of Sean Connery. It may not be my favorite Indiana Jones film, but he was great as his dad, as Henry Jones Sr. in that. Because when he's sitting on the blimp and he's looking at him, and Indy wants to get serious with him, and you were never there as my dad, and he's like, "Did I ever tell you to eat up, do your homework, go to bed, brush your teeth? No, I taught you self-reliance.
I respected your privacy,"
which was great. He was great in that. And
he's like, "But we never talked." You go, "Okay, fine, talk."
And I'm waiting.
And he's like, I don't know what to talk about. Then what are you complaining about?
Just stares at him for like 30 seconds to wait. But I loved it that Lucas and Spielberg thought, well, we're doing Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is kind of our homage to James Bond and those types of people, those adventurous people. Who should we cast as Indy's dad? Why not the original James Bond? We love him anyway, so it was a great bit of casting. All right, how about your favorite? I've listed two of my favorite. What are a couple of them? Two great James Bond films with Sean Connery. What are your two favorite Connery films if you had to pick out two Bond films?
Well, I know it's
there's a lot of them.
It's controversial to you, but it's because it hit me when I was a real little kid. But Thunderball, because of the underwater sea battle, I had never
magnificently
seen
huge.
anything like that. You've got armies of people willing to do battle underwater with spear guns. I'm like, and
it's real stunt water actor people.
That
it's
was
not
really
fake.
Cool.
They're all of them.
I know it's a go-to one, but I'll never forget how I thought about Goldfinger. You think the whole time he's out to steal the gold. That wasn't the plan.
No.
And I remember as a kid watching the movie, and when I finally get to the point, I realized he wants to make it where gold is worthless.
And he's going to irradiate Fort Knox.
I'm like, oh my God, that's
and he's
going to
own all the gold.
Oh, yeah. And then when they trick everybody thinking that the pilots have been sprayed with the sleep.
And they all get up.
And then again, like typical Sean Connery, I think it became the motif of so many of his movies.
Yeah.
We have the obligatory army versus army. We got to have like mass carnage.
In Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Fighting each other. And he stops the bomb at 007 seconds.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Yeah.
He's the first one to ever do stuff like that.
So of all the Sean Connerys, I think those are my two favorite. I did like Never Say Never Again because it was funny.
Yes,
it's basically Thunderball again.
Redux.
But you get a sense of an older, maybe more wise Bond, a little more... it's fun to see him maneuvering the bad guy.
I love it at the beginning of Never Say Never Again because it is basically a Bond film with him that old. And they're bringing him out of retirement and he goes... You got to go get back. You got to go get in shape. And they send him to the spa because he's completely out of shape. And I think it's great. It's awesome.
My favorite line, and I know I thought you were going to get ready to say it. He goes, "So do you have an assignment?" He goes, "Yes, I must eliminate all free radicals."
All free radicals.
He goes, "Wow, that's all."
And when Moneypenny hears him say that, she goes, "Oh, do be careful! Like it's dangerous. Free radicals.
Eliminate free
no.
radicals." That was
That's
great.
right. And when he goes to get tested in the spa, and they need a urine sample from him, and she goes, "Mr. Bond, we need to take a sample from you. Could you fill this beaker?" And he's like, "From here? Not from here." And she looks at him like, a little shy look. Like that was funny. It's great. Directed by Irvin Kershner. Got directed Empire Strikes Back and RoboCop 2, and A Man Called Horse with Who's in that? Man Called Horace. Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, a great director and a teacher of George Lucas at film school, I think that he did. But yeah, Never Say Never Again was great. I mean, that came out at the same time. The Roger Moore movie Octopussy came out in 1983 was when those came out. So yeah, Bond. My two are Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice, I think, are my two favorite Sean Connery Bond movies. From Russia with Love is great, too. Another Robert Shaw role in that one, too. Speaking on there, stay tuned. We'll have more when we come back.
Only one man could destroy a Caribbean island. Only one man would drive a car with an ejection seat. Only one man can turn off an atomic bomb, blow up a volcano, hold a helicopter in a suitcase, a rocket on his back, artillery in one hand, and a beautiful woman in the other. Only one man.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond. He's back. Sean Connery as James Bond, 007, in Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. He's back in the diamond fields of South Africa, in the casinos of Las Vegas, on an offshore drilling rig, and 180 miles in space. Sean Connery as James Bond is back, and he's bigger than ever in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all.
Diamonds are forever.
Diamonds Are Forever. From United Artists, rated GP. May contain material not suitable for pre-teenagers. Diamonds Are Forever, 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 forever.
Dow Bathroom Cleaner with scrubbing bubbles cleans bathroom soils right down to the shine.
What power? What power? What's just putting a muscle on dirt and scum? Oh, we scrub it away fast. Oh, we do. We really do. We disinfect and deodorize, too. Okay, Charms, you're all washed up. Look at the shine we leave behind. We work extra hard so you don't have to.
To leave your bathroom sparkling clean, get Dow Bathroom Cleaner with scrubbing bubbles.
Hey, we're back. Last segment, BK on the air. Can't believe it's almost over.
Strange.
I have to go eat some lunch, man, when I get out of here.
Food. Yeah, that's
I got food on my mind.
I could use some food. You buying?
Well, not you. I'm going with the wife. You know. We need to go out again like we did not too long ago. We need to do another lunch.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I have a story here from Fox Business. One of the Star Wars props has sold for a lot of money.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
What happened?
Had a slight weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
We're sending a squad up.
Negative. We have a reactor leak here now. Give us a few minutes to lock it down. Large leak, very dangerous.
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
That's right. Alan's doing the line here before I go back to him, because the next line is Luke, we're going to have company. That's right. A blaster actor Harrison Ford used while playing Han Solo in Star Wars A New Hope from 1977 has sold for over
$1 million.
Can you believe that for the prop?
In a press release Wednesday, Rock Island Auction Company said the Blastech DL-44 Heavy Blaster, if you're a Star Wars fan, that's what it is. And you know it when you see it because they made a lot of replicas. Kenner made the little toy and everything. That made the whee, little
it was
noise.
a little gear with a little piece of plastic go against it.
But it worked. It was purchased over the weekend, last weekend, for a whopping $1,057,000. But did not specify the buyer. Yeah, he wanted to keep quiet. Don't want anybody to know I got it. I might have to shoot him with it. It's believed that to be the only surviving prop blaster of the three made for A New Hope, which was released in 1977, according to the auction house. Prior to the auction, estimates for the sale price of the iconic Star Wars blaster prop made of military surplus parts. I mean, they just put it together. I mean, we just watched the special Light and Magic on Disney, the special effects thing. That was the special effects. They could do a separate one for all the physical props and stuff they made, like the lightsaber and stuff. That'd be a separate show, and I would watch that because it's amazing. But they thought it was going to bring between $300,000 and $500,000. It exceeded that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
The prop weapon was previously thought to be missing. However, the London-based prop house Bapty & Co. Baptian Company, later found the prop in its inventory, the auction said. Can you imagine that over at the Tellus? We're like, what did we do with the T-Rex skeleton? Oh, there it is. We forgot we had it. It's over there in the basement. Now, other Star Wars franchise-related pieces have fetched significant sums at auctions in the past. In June, a miniature X-Wing fighter from Star Wars in 1977, one of the models, sold for over $2.3 million, one of the actual models. Because, back then they actually built models for movies, not CGI things. I understand when they do a CGI ship, they still build a 3D model of it that they can look at and hold. So, yeah. A prop blaster from Return of the Jedi also went for $550,000 in 2018. It doesn't say whose blaster it was when Ripley's, believe it or not, bought it. So I guess they put it in their museum. That belongs in a museum. While it initially crazy to think that Han Solo's blaster sold for over $1 million, it really isn't that insane. At this piece is it's a very important prop in film history. It single-handedly helped define one of the most iconic characters of all time, Han Solo, and you can hear the incredible story of how this blaster came to life if you go to their YouTube page and just search for Han Solo's blaster sells for $1 million. And you can also remember, you can stream the entire Skywalker saga right now on Disney Plus if you want to see the blaster at work, especially from Star Wars. Because his blaster never changed. It always looked like that one little blaster. He may have used it. I think Chewbacca had a crossbow. Remember his looked like a crossbow? I don't know why it was that shape because there was no bow to pull back, but it just looked cool. And the Stormtroopers had their own gun, which looked, that was very recognizable when you would see them. So there you go, a prop from Star Wars selling. And we did a show, what was it, about a year ago, where we thought, what would be our dream prop to have from a movie? And just several of them come to mind. And when we talked about the Ark from Raiders of the Lost Ark, we talked about, some of the clapper boards from the movies where they were filming the scenes. That'd be cool to have. You could display that. The bigger things would be hard to make. But one of my favorites that I had always wanted for some reason was I'd love to have the sword from Excalibur. I'd love to have that sword, which is still in Director John Borman's office somewhere. I've heard that he had it for a long time.
There are a lot of cool swords that I'd like to have. The Conan the Barbarian sword.
The Narnia sword was beautiful. The Chronicles of Narnia with the lion on the end of it, of the handle. That one's great.
The Shards of Narsil, which is the blade in Lord of the Rings that cut off the hand of Sauron. Oh,
but the props, awesome. Though. I mean, what Dorothy's? I mean, some people would love to have Dorothy's ruby red slippers. There's so many props that you can have. So many James Bond props you could have. So many things you could want.
Well, you could go down this spiral for a long time.
Yeah.
I think when we talked about it last time, one of the original pulse rifles from Aliens, I think would be cool.
That would be nice because they were, and some people build those. And speaking of Dragon Con, a lot of people go dressed as Colonial Marines and have those. Even the ones that swivel around their waist, like Vasquez has.
The pulse rifles,
the big ones.
Yeah.
But I would like to have one of the the small ones with the grenade launcher that they just hold in their hands. Those would be cool. And I just love the digital readout of the ammo. It's like how many rounds you got. It starts counting down when you use it. That's cool. So, I got one more. I got a few more stories here. We're ticking up to the top of the hour. One of them, which is kind of a little silly and unbelievable, but this one's kind of interesting. Do you like cornflakes?
Love cornflakes.
Kellogg's will pay you $5,000 to eat cereal for dinner. Here's another of those things that we can make some money doing. This is from Catherine Stoddard here locally in Atlanta, Fox 5. Do you love cereal? How about cereal for dinner? Kellogg's is giving 5 lucky people a chance to win $5,000 each and a year's worth of Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Fruit Loops, and Frosted Mini Wheats. I'll pass on the Mini Wheats. Cereal, and it's Cereal for Dinner sweepstakes. The sweepstakes began on August the 25th. It ends on September the 26th, so you've got time to do it still. A new winner will be chosen each week until the sweepstakes has ended. Now, here are the requirements you have to do this. You have to have a non-private Instagram account. You must be 18 years older. So far, we qualify.
I've got 2 of those.
Must be a legal U.S. resident. Check your driver's license.
Good.
You got
3 for 3.
Okay. 1 entry allowed per person. We can satisfy that one if we had to. Each winner will be directly messaged via Instagram at the end of each respective week, according to the sweepstakes website. Now, for more information, if you want to do this, visit Kellogg's.com. And I was spelling Kellogg's wrong because I couldn't remember if Kellogg had
2 L's,
2 L's and 2 G's, or 1 L and 2 G's, or 2 G's and 1 L. I couldn't remember. But it is. It's 2 L's and 2 G's. KELLOGGS.com. So if you want to get into that and do it, you could get paid $5,000. And
I think I'm going to have to enter that because I could eat cereal.
Do it?
I could eat cereal. I am still a cereal person.
Man, I love cereal. I shouldn't eat it, but it's just... and there's so many. There are some cereals I don't care for, but most of the kiddie cereals that you can still get, they're just all so good. And every now and then a guilty pleasure to try one. It's not bad to have it every now and then. Another food thing here from Kelly Hayes at Fox 4 in Toronto. Heinz, the ketchup maker, they're selling a collection of ketchup-stained clothing.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Would you like to know more?
Yes, please.
After years, you want to know about the Wiener Pops last week, the frozen Oscar Mayer Wiener Pops. After years and years of quite literally leaving its mark on the fashion industry, ketchup, Heinz has debuted a new clothing collection with ketchup stains. The Vintage Drip Collection features thrifted clothes in a partnership with ThredUp, an online resale platform. The proceeds support global hunger relief, the company says, so it's for charity. There are 157 secondhand streetwear and designer pieces in the clothing line, each with a unique ketchup stain, because when it's Heinz, it's not a stain, it's a statement, they say in a press release. The sizes range from 2XS to XXL. XXL is the one I need. The first drop launched on Tuesday, and another release will happen on September 13th, featuring more exclusive items. The company noted how demand for thrifting, sustainable, one-of-a-kind clothing options has surged among many eco-conscious Gen X and millennial shoppers. And I go to thrift stores sometimes to find some things. And reported by ThredUp, is its organization website this year, found that 62% of Gen X and millennials say they look for an item secondhand before purchasing a new one. Many cited saving money as the main motivator, followed by a desire to find unique items. Yeah, but I'm not going to buy underwear and socks at a thrift store. I just can't. I can't go that route. I don't know why. I don't care what washing machine they've used. And they do sell them in some places.
Isn't it weird how psychology works? Like the mentality. You're like, well, wait a minute. You could put this in bleach.
Yeah.
And steam it.
Clean it.
And run it through a high temperature.
Like you would wash your own at home.
It'd be like brand new. But someone else wore it.
I'll pass it. And I'm okay with being.
Somebody else's jeans. Oh, yeah, but those are jeans.
And I'm okay with that double standard. I'm totally
what about
fine
a T-shirt?
With it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine with it, yeah. What about a cap? What about a hat?
No, I don't think
Hats
so.
been on their head. A large majority of those surveyed, 82%, shared that they feel a positive emotion when they buy a secondhand item. The global secondhand apparel market is also expected to grow 127% by 2026, which is 3 times faster than the global apparel market overall, according to the report. And I did look at some of the photos of the shirts, and they are. One of them was like a little white shirt someone had with a little ketchup splotch right there on the front, right by the collar. Right there. And that's what it looked like. That's all there was to it. So when people are paying $400 for a pair of jeans that have been muddied and shot with a shotgun and just stained with whatever, and they put them in the stores, you tell me anything, I'll believe somebody will buy anything.
The fact that people can sell jeans that look like you got in a fight with a saber-toothed tiger and say these are designer, I'm like, they're shredded. They're going to last a year, maybe.
On top of that, in a fight with one and lost. Yeah, that's great. Let's do this right quick. I may have to make this quick. Gizmodo is reporting that the Universal Monsters are streaming on Peacock. If you have the Peacock app or the TV channel or whatever that's streaming, you can see, over 29 films in all of the Universal horror films. You'll see films like Frankenstein, Dracula, Invisible Man, The Mummy, Phantom of the Opera, as well as some of the later ones too. But what's funny is 2 of my favorites are missing, and I don't know why. Creature from the Black Lagoon is not on there, and The Wolf Man with Lon Chaney Jr.
Stinks.
That's crazy. I wonder why they couldn't get those.
Well, you know what? Since September 1 hit, people are already thinking about the fall and Halloween.
Go to peacocktv.com to find out more. It's great. I love the Universal stuff. We're going to have a Halloween show. We'll give you more details as time ticks by. It's BK on the Air. We'll see you next week and on the podcast.
Hi. Today you saw why everyone should be given a chance to prove his or her abilities. Don't put someone down just because they're different from you. And don't put a girl down just because she's a girl. When a person's talents are wasted, it's a loss to all of us. See you next week.